When you think about it, bugs probably have the most stressful lives imaginable. Danger lurks around every corner. At any moment, you could be hit by a car, caught in a spider web or bug zapper, or you may accidentally fly indoors and get lost. Trapped inside by an invisible force field you can't understand. Cursed to stare out at the great outdoors, but never to feel the wind on your wings. All alone, you will spend the rest of your short lifespan here, amongst the dust and the remnants of other bugs that have shared the same fate. Wait, was this window open the whole time? Freedom! I'm finally free! Oh, sweet nectar, how I've missed you! But no fate is worse than encountering a praying mantis. Truly the ultimate bug predator. These little freaks fear nothing and will eat anything. They've been seen fighting dogs and catching hummingbirds, and once in its bear trap-like claws, there is no escape as it consumes its prey alive. But how much do you really know about them? I mean, obviously, aside from the fact that they eat the heads off of their mates, but that's not even the craziest thing about their mating process, let alone the bug itself. So today I wanted to talk about these little buggers, from their insane diets to their crazy good eyesight, and yes, at the end I will talk about the whole mating thing. So stick around, because mantids are way cooler than you think. So if you couldn't tell by now, I'm a big fan of mantids. I'm a big mantis stan. I mean, I'm a fan of bugs in general, but mantids are my favorite. I mean, for starters, they got arms. Technically they're legs, but I mean, they got arms? They look like little alien centaurs. Looks alone would definitely be enough to do it for me. I do also have a special connection to these little freaks. A few years back, I worked as a tour guide for an arthropod zoo, and mantids were by far my favorite thing to show off to the guests. It was while I was working there that I was given the moniker the Mantis Whisperer for how good I was at training mantids to be handleable. If you don't believe me, look at these pictures of me with bugs on my face. How else would I have gotten those bugs on my face? So, since I've stopped working there, I find that there are less and less opportunities for me to tell people about how freaking cool mantids are without coming across as some kind of weirdo. And so that is what this video is for. Mantids are carnivorous insects of the order Mantodia and have been around at least since the early Cretaceous period. They're closely related to cockroaches, which I never realized how similar they look to one another until I saw this video of a cockroach on a guitar, which is literally just me at a party, and I actually thought that it was a mantis for a minute.
Holy fuck, I thought I was tripping balls. What the fuck?
Even when they're babies, praying mantids are badass. They look and act basically the exact same as they do as when they're an adult, although they're just tiny. A lot of insects, such as butterflies, bees, and beetles, undergo complete metamorphosis, meaning that they change dramatically throughout their lifespan. They got a larval stage, they got a pupal stage, and they got an imago stage. Normally we just call that the adult stage, because nobody really cares, except for probably some hardcore entomologists somewhere. Mantids, however, undergo incomplete metamorphosis, meaning that a baby mantis is basically the exact same as an adult mantis, but just smaller and with no wings. They generally live for about a year, and you'll be able to tell if a praying mantis has reached adulthood or not based on whether or not it has wings, which is actually true for most, if not all, insects. I'm sure there's some weird edge case that I don't know about off the top of my head, but it's generally true. If a bug's got wings, it's an adult. Wings are 18 and up only, not for minors. And this is because once they reach adulthood, their priorities shift a little bit. Now, they're not just trying to survive and find food. Now they're trying to survive and find a mate. We're not talking about mating yet though, so just be patient, hang on. Just wait till further in the video, we'll get to it, alright? Get off my frickin' back. So mantids come in a wide variety. You got the normal, expected, familiar looking Chinese green or European green mantis. And then you got the nearly invisible ghost mantis. And then there are the crazy flamboyant mantids that are like the devil's flower mantis or little orchid mantids. They're very cute. Part of the reason for this wide variation is due to their hunting strategy. So most mantids are ambush predators, essentially just campers. They will just sit in one spot for hours at a time and wait for their food to come to them. Kind of like how I use food delivery apps, although mantids don't lose their life savings. They also don't have the concept of money. That'd be really nice. And these fuckers are fast. So when a little bug comes along, just minding its own business, living its best life, praying mantis will lash out with its raptorial claws faster than you would frickin' believe possible. These little fuckers are so goddamn fast that they can hit you in less time than it takes for you to blink. Like, I've had it happen to me, and you actually feel it happen before you see it happen. A normal human blink is somewhere in the range of 100 to 400 milliseconds, whereas a praying mantis can make a complete strike in under 60 milliseconds. And it's not just speed. You would be shocked at how strong these guys are. Once those claws have latched onto something, it is virtually impossible to get free of them. And once they're holding on, they're just gonna lean in and start chowing down right off the bat while their prey is still alive and kicking, which, you know, obviously won't be for all that much longer. And the things they eat, oh my God, I feel like these little aliens exist outside the food chain entirely. I feel like we're pretty used to like this idea that bugs are kind of their own thing. Like, you know, of course bugs eat other bugs, and then non-bug things will come along and eat those bugs. And we don't expect it to go the other way. But then along comes praying mantises, eating fucking hummingbirds and lizards. And fish? What the fuck? They could eat a person if the person was incredibly patient and didn't mind a little bug chewing on them for, you know, several hours. I imagine it'd be quite unpleasant. A mantis's mouth is like if your mouth was sideways under your chin and your teeth were made of fingers, but like with really sharp fingernails. I'm talking sharp enough fingernails to pierce the lizard skin. Now it should be mentioned that there are a lot of things that will eat a praying mantis. Birds, for example. While their camouflage is really freaking good, it's not perfect. So when a praying mantis is threatened, it'll do what we call a threat display. It'll do this. Does this frighten you? Are you intimidated? You should be. Mantids often have false eye spots, which they use to scare away predators. They will flash them and pose, and it'll look like they're on a frickin' roller coaster, or that they're just posing for a photo shoot or something. I think it's adorable. But if you see a praying mantis doing this, leave it alone. Don't touch it. Trust me, you'll get smacked before you feel that you're being smacked. Or it'll latch onto your finger and start chowing down. And that is a very unpleasant experience. Don't try it. Hey, have you ever looked into the eyes of a praying mantis? I mean, like, up close and in person. A lot of the people that I've talked to have said that it feels like they've got a level of awareness to them that other bugs don't have. It's almost like they're able to recognize you as a person, which they kind of are. We'll get to that. So this effect is amplified by the presence of pseudopupils. Pseudopupils are something that are shared by all bugs. They're not really noticeable unless the bug is pretty big or if it's got like differently colored eyes than other bugs. Like they're super stark on a praying mantis because it's got those lovely green eyes, or their eyes are colored. But like on a bug that's just got black eyes, you can't see the pseudopupil. It's there, but you can't see it. But with praying mantids, this effect is undeniable and uncanny. No matter where you're looking at them from, there is going to be a pupil looking right back at you. They watch you. Wherever you go, there is a praying mantis watching you. So you know how bug eyes are made up of a whole schwack of little hexagons? So bug eyes are called compound eyes, and each of those little hexagons is an individual eye cell. They're called ommatidia. So each ommatidia is just like a little tube that goes down to the retina, and each of them is set at a slightly different angle to make a complete picture of what's going on around it. And the lens will reflect light that isn't perpendicular to it. This means that no matter what angle you look at a bug from, that is the angle that the light is able to pass directly in through the lens and to the retina. The result is an unblinking pupil, forever making direct, unblinking eye contact. Now, I'm a very strange man who has spent a lot of time with praying mantids on my face. And one of my favorite things about the pseudopupil is that as you get really close to it, the illusion breaks down. If you are looking at a praying mantis real close up, you can close one eye and then the other, and the pseudopupil will shift from spot to spot as the angle that your individual eyes are looking at them will change. It's so freaking cool. Mantids can even see in 3D. Scientists, who must have the coolest job in the world, made 3D glasses for praying mantids, and then they showed them a bunch of videos of flies walking around, and they found that the praying mantis wouldn't strike at the bugs unless the video was 3D like the glasses were. Super cool, but I imagine it was quite frustrating for the bug. Those poor mantids, just trying to get a frickin' meal. Now you may have noticed that the lens of this mantid's 3D glasses aren't red and blue like they would be for me or you. Bars. Instead, they're green and blue. And this is because praying mantids, as well as dogs, don't actually have a red color receptor. So they just see the world in shades of blue, green, and yellow. And that's why you don't want to get your dog a red toy. At least not if you're playing fetch, because it's not going to be able to see it. It's going to blend in with everything else. But wait, there's more! As in more eyes. Mantids actually have 5 eyes total, if you don't count each of the ommatidia individually, which why would you? We don't count our eye cells individually. Don't do that for a bug then. While the big bulbous eyes are able to detect images similar to the way that we see, mantids, as well as many other bugs, have 3 additional eyes on the top of their head called oculi. These little guys, they don't see a full image like the big eyes do. They mostly just see light and dark and movement, but it functions as a little motion detector on the back of the mantid's head, so that way if there is a bug behind it, it can see it. All of this comes together to have praying mantids have one of the best eyesights of all insects. Second only to dragonflies, but I mean, it's pretty hard to compete with dragonflies. Look at their head is basically just just me. I am the head of every dragonfly. So when people say that it feels like a praying mantis is able to see and recognize them, it's because it actually can. Mantids are surprisingly smart for a bug. For starters, they're able to recognize people. I mentioned earlier that I used to work as a tour guide and that I'd been dubbed the Mantis Whisperer. One of my managers gave me that title because there were several mantids at this job that wouldn't let anybody touch them except for me. Except for the old Maxie boy. Yeah, this is because of the amount of time that I spent with them. And so they were able to recognize me as a person and recognize that I wasn't actually a threat to them. Also, one day I was walking down the street and somebody recognized me and referred to me as the Mantis Whisperer, which was by far the coolest thing that has ever happened to me in my life. And clearly I've peaked, and it's all downhill from here. Okay, so when I first started working there, I went into the back room where we kept all the bugs that weren't on display at the moment. Heads up, this might get a little bit gross. We had this wall of shelves that had all the mantids in them, and each mantis was in a little cage that had a little window that it could look out of. And there's this one that had its arms on either side of the window, and it's just staring at me. It is staring me dead in the eye. And so, we stare at each other for a few seconds, and then the mantis leans forward, opens up its mouth, and for a split second I am able to see down its throat while this brown sludge starts to come up, and then it smears that vomit on the window at me. So obviously I jump back and I'm like, oh my god. My manager hears me from the other room and she's like, is everything okay? I say, I think this mantis just vomited at me. And she goes, huh, I didn't know their digestive systems worked that way. So anyway, she came over, she took care of it and fed it some honey while I had to clean out the cage, which, oh my god, that was probably the stinkiest thing I've ever had to clean out in my entire life. Actually, come to think of it, there were some things at that job that actually smelled worse than that, but mantis vomit is probably within the top 3 grossest things I've ever had to clean up. Little bit of a tangent there, sorry about that. Point is, they're smart for a bug. That mantis waited until it knew that it had my attention before it could signal to me that it was in distress. And the image is forever seared into my brain. Fuck. Hey, speaking of things that are seared into my brain for all time, let's talk about mantis mating. And now, the birds and the mantis, brought to you by your host, Mantis Man Max. Oh, fuck. Oh, you knew this was coming. You knew I had to talk about the decapitation thing. The sexual decapitation. So it is indeed true that mantids will sometimes eat the head off of their mate. But dude, that is just the beginning. I mean, literally, sometimes the lady will just eat the head off of the male before they start getting it on. But that doesn't slow him down in the slightest. That fella doesn't even need his head to get head, if you know what I'm saying. Bam! Nailed it! So the thing is that mantids, as well as many other bugs, don't just have a brain in their heads. They got a whole chain of brains leading from their head down to their butts. And yes, you did hear that right. Bugs got butt brains. So if this fella gets his head taken off before he starts getting going, it doesn't slow him down in the slightest. Maybe, for all we know, it's a turn on. Kinky little freaks. But his body, specifically his butt brain, still knows what he's gotta do. Why? Why would they eat their mates? First of all, it doesn't happen all the time. The lady's gotta be quite hungry for it to happen. Females that eat their mates lay heavier ootheca By the way, an eutheca is just a fancy word for a praying mantis egg sac, which could lead to up to 20% more offspring. So a few days after getting it on, the female's gonna go find a good spot to lay her eutheca, and then they will overwinter there. And in the spring, you'll have up to 200 little babies crawling around, probably eating each other. Isn't nature beautiful? Well, look at that. You made it to the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. I worked really hard on this and had a ton of fun making it, so I really hope that you enjoyed it. If you want to see more of these, just, check out the channel, like, subscribe, all that jazz. Also, just in case you made it this far, Hector has a special message just for you. You should be. And there's a little dog. Hey, buddy. Hello. Oh, look at the little dog. Hi, Hector. What's going on? Are you telling everybody that they should like and subscribe? Yeah. Okay, I'll